What's up? What's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen of all ages? Man, oh man, it's a good week. I guess summer's winding down here at this point in time. Got a little bit cooler today here in Dallas, Texas. It was only 87 degrees today, so that was pretty good. It's been hovering right around 100, although it has been pretty much a mild summer here, but it's been good. Went to as you guys know, I sit on the board for Texas Air Conditioning Contractors Association for the North Texas chapter. There is the Trailblazer event coming up in October 3rd, I believe. It's all over the interwebs. And we had a clay shoot this week. That was really nice. And I thought I was a really good shot. Actually, I actually thought yeah, I'm good. Like I'm good. Yeah, not so much. I guess if you don't shoot a gun in, you don't shoot a shotgun in a period of time, like you need practice. I mean, that's just what it is. So I think my team was pretty upset at me. If they watch, I'm really sorry about that. We probably would have taken the number one spot because the guys that I were with were absolutely nuts, man. They had like the whole deal, the Elmer Fudd package, the whole thing. It was pretty wild. I really enjoyed it though. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of good things happening in and around the industry. So very exciting about that. Today I have a very special guest. I have a very special guest. I have two very special guests, and they are a married couple, and this is the first this is the first time during all 60 whatever episodes that I've had a married couple on this show. I've never actually had a married couple on this show. So David, Stephanie, welcome. So I was in this house, and so you are in your house.
Yes, we are at 8:30 at night in the East. So it's a little
happy to be here, man.
Yes, absolutely.
Very, very cool. Well, so for those that don't know who you are and why you're here, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Your turn or my turn?
Your turn.
So we are David and Stephanie Postell. We own Anchor Heating and Air in Charleston, South Carolina. We are in the middle of our fourth year of business, though we have both been in the industry. David for over 20 years, me 13 or 14, something like that. I was operations manager of a large company. David was installer and install manager. We left that gig at the beginning of 2019. We went into business with an investor. We grew that company to $5 million in about 20 months during COVID. He fired us and took our company. And here we are. We started our company at the end of 2021. And like I said, we're in the middle of our fourth year, and we're on track to do $8 million this year. So
wow. So did you have any recourse when the guy took your company?
Not much, because if you're stupid and you don't get your operating agreement read by a lawyer, you're kind of shit out of luck. So
wow.
That's where we are.
He just took the company.
That's it.
So we owned a very small percentage, except that we were the functional owners. And as far as everyone knew, we were the owners of the company. We brought all the relationships, all the operations. Literally, he wrote the first small check, and we did everything else. And I think that we went into business literally the third day of COVID. Nobody knew that COVID was going to be like it was. I don't think he ever thought that we were going to be as successful as we were, as quickly as we were. He had other businesses. We think there was some wrongdoing going on, and I was getting close to figuring it out. And instead of that all happening, he accused us of stealing from the company, and he took back our ownership in the company and left us on the corner on a rainy Wednesday.
Just before Christmas.
Just before Christmas.
Is this in Charleston?
In Charleston. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So
wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And there's way more to that, but here we are. We've overcome all of those obstacles to be running an amazing company with amazing people. We have 25 amazing employees, and it's where God meant for us to be. So here we are.
Wow. And are you happy?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
yes, for sure. Things happen.
Owning your business is super easy, and you don't.
Wouldn't go that far, but it is much better to have owning our own company than running someone else's. So
I'll bet.
For sure.
I'll bet you guys run a really cool, a really good culture there too. You're always. Tell me about this. We mean business. She mean business. What is this? What is this venture you've taken on?
Yeah, well, a few years ago, I've been very blessed, and David as well. We've spoken together on some stages across the country in our industry. I've spoken at Pantheon, Service World Expo, Profit Rocket, a few different places, and which is awesome. We're blessed to be able to tell our story. But what I realized is that we weren't giving back to our own area, our own community. And so a couple of years ago, I started a conference called She Means Business. And it was for local female entrepreneurs just to get together for a day, be inspired. This last year, I had changed it up a little bit and did kind of like a TED Talk thing and had some women there that got to pitch their businesses, even had an 11-year-old entrepreneur who was amazing. But what I found in that is that over time, I've done a lot of mentoring of contractors in our industry. I put myself out there and I'm like, if you call me and get on my schedule, I'm happy to spend as much time with you as I can for free. I don't charge anything. And what I found when I started She Means Business is I had a lot of husbands asking me if they could send their wives to my conference. And I said, no.
They just needed a break from them.
Well, maybe.
They didn't really want them to attend. They're like, you know what though? Hey, there's this really cool conference. You should go. You should go.
Exactly. And maybe that is what it is. But I told them at the time, I said, it won't help them. It's a local conference. But it did spark something in me to think maybe there's a need for husbands and wives to be at a place together. Maybe there's a situation where a husband went into business for himself and now he has a wife who is getting into the business, and he thinks that if she hears from me, maybe she'll understand the struggle. And so, of course, in my style, I looked at David and said,
we mean business.
We mean business. So we're having a conference. And nothing's been done in Charleston ever, as long as I've been in the industry. It's a beautiful place to visit. And it's really just going to be a great couple of days where you can get away from your business, but you can be inspired by other couples who are doing what you're doing. Or related business owners, because we actually are going to have Crystal Williams and her brother Trey, who were in business together, but then they ended up, she owns a marketing company now, and he owns his company, plus is now creating a platform of other businesses.
When is this conference?
Yeah, it's November 9th through the 11th at Isle of Palms, South Carolina. We're going to come in on a Sunday, have a really cool Southern Charm welcome party all day Monday, a speakeasy bourbon party Monday night.
I didn't get the invitation. I didn't get the invitation yet.
Right.
I didn't get it yet.
Right.
Speakeasy, bourbon, Charleston. I'm there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you. And then just half a day on Tuesday, because we know that business owners can't be gone long and they need to get back to their business.
So it's like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. You only lose 1.5 days of work. That's cool.
That's right.
Yeah. sometimes you have to hit the here's what I find is amazing is that whenever, we talk about like, you got to grind, you got to go at it. You just got to get it done and all this stuff. And I do find that that's important, but you know what I find really important is the recharge, like the reset, the ability to step away, and as hard as it might be, because there's always something that you need to do and always something that you need to take care of. But if you don't reset the mind and reset the, just hit reset on that Nintendo, right? Like, you gotta like blow into the game. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta reset it. And sometimes you come back and you're on fire. And I knew this guy that I worked with, and he came back and he was like tan, and he came off vacation, and like before he left, he was like, whatever, he was doing okay. But here's the deal. We had a big sales team. Okay. I worked for a big company with a big sales team. Right. And we were a family run company, but they had bought anyway. Point is, it still operated pretty well. It was a well-oiled machine. Right. And, so he came back off vacation and literally went like 6 for 6 for like 100. It was crazy. Like he was doing so well on the road. He was communicating effectively. Everybody was buying from him. And I don't say he was really selling, because really, I mean, at this point in time in our, no one really sells anything anymore. Like that's just it, right? Everybody, you give somebody the ability to purchase something, and that's the key. When you turn that dial on, okay, I am not selling. I am literally giving information, educating people, gaining agreements, getting people to swim in the same direction. And speaking of which, we were talking before a little bit about, kind of on that topic of, trying to maintain, a professionality, a level of standards for your people, for your installations, for your service, which you guys are trying to do, right? But you're running into some problems, right? So you were in this house and...
Yeah. Tell us about it.
So this story was back when, if we're talking about the story, right?
Well, I think he's asking like, what are we seeing now?
Oh,
right.
Geez.
Yeah. Like what's like I was thinking
that we had today, or sales.
Like you're trying to do the right thing as business owners. You're trying to give the right level of service, and you're running into brick walls. What's happening?
So we're up against a small guy. I mean, it's like these guys are coming in, man. They're offering, they're just doing a box for a box, and we're like creating the whole customer experience. We're running the load calculation. We're looking at the duct system. We're making a complete solution. And we're trying to sell that value as much as we can. We're not the highest in town. There's private equity all around us. But we are just getting our butts handed to us by these smaller guys that are coming in and literally just changing the boxes. Like, I can see their Facebook posts. Like, they're happy to share that they are replacing these systems. They're putting the air handler in the attic right back in the same rusted drain pan, connected to the same oversized plenum that was there from 20 years ago. Like, and we're going in and we're creating these solutions, or not creating, we're offering these solutions, and like we're just, it's tough, man. We're getting our asses handed to us.
The thing that I say about that is the challenge for us is that, we do a really great job of, because we want to do it right. That's our way. It's like the right way, not the easy way. But what happens with homeowners is that they don't know that they didn't get the right way until a couple years from now. And so I just said this week, like 2 years from now, we're going to be so in the money, like it'll be nuts, because their company won't respond to them. They won't have the right solution. We're turning down people right now that I just had a lady today reached out about her duct system. She said, can David swing by next week and tell me what's going on with the condensation in my garage? And you know what I said back to her?
On a brand new duct system.
On a brand new duct system. And I said, you know what? I said, I see that David quoted you a duct system last summer, but I don't see that you moved forward. And she said, nope, my husband's buddy replaced the duct system. I said, you should call him back and find out how he can fix that.
And I'm sure he tested the static pressure and did a CFM count and made sure that there was the right amount of airflow moving through there, and that all the rooms had appropriate damper collars and dampers, right? Yeah.
That's
I'm sure
why
all of that.
Condensation problems again, less than a year later, so.
I've seen this now for a long time. And one of the things that I like to do, having been obviously in HVAC sales for a very long time, one of the things that I like to do in that situation is I will tell that story. So I will quite literally tell a story about a situation where, like, going with the cheaper sort of situation was not, it ended up being more expensive.
Yeah.
And so I like to say things like, hey, and this is reality. Like, this is candid, dude. You're only going to do this once.
Right.
And so I think sometimes vernacular plays a really large role, and sometimes it works and sometimes you just can't get through. This is a bigger question. And let me ask you guys this. So, customer sentiment, like, do you feel that in the last few years, like, it has changed, like, how people are actually doing business, how they're finding companies, loyalty? What are your experiences?
I think number one, this is what I tell our people all the time. They have caviar taste, but a beer budget. So they want our level of service. They want to do business with us because we have a 5-star rating. We have 1,000 5-star reviews. People write all that they can write about what an amazing experience they have with us. But they choose the cheaper option. I can't tell you how many times a week when David's following up, people say, I loved you. I loved your people. They were amazing. I went with the cheaper company.
Yeah.
I would refer you. I'm like,
do you think that there was something that you could have done? And this is more like, what's conjecture? I'm trying to say, like, do you think that there's something that you could have done on the front side that would have created, like, would have enabled that customer to move forward? But, like, in other words, like, I don't know, make it more advantageous for them in some sort of way, or give them some sort of offering? Or was it like just straight price and that's it? Like I'm saying, like, was there a budget plan that you could have done for them or something like that? Or was it just straight price and that was that?
I think it's been a lot of straight pricing. Like, I follow up immediately. Like, when I send the proposal, I follow up immediately. I'm like, I sent your proposal. Thanks for letting me in your house today. Like, once you guys get a chance to review, like, please give us the opportunity to talk about what we proposed. And I mean, we follow up daily, but then on day 3, when we followed up, they're like, well, we went with the lesser price.
yeah. And we have it in our proposal that says we're an apples to apples company. Please let us, come back, like, give us the opportunity. But I think that, I think it's so much on price. And listen, I hear people say all the time, like, oh, you didn't show your value, blah, blah, blah. Price doesn't matter. Let me just tell you, 2025 is not like any other year. And I've been doing this a long time. And I will tell you, I just really think that this year is different than any other year. It's been very easy over the last few years. Any joker could run an HVAC company. But I think now we're finding out who really is going to be able to be successful at that, because you've got to control your costs. You've got to be aware of what customers are wanting, and it is tough. And with the availability, there's so many people that don't know their numbers, that aren't paying attention to what's going on. Like this company that we talked to today, I mean, they're a 30-year-old company, just reduced their 2-ton 14 SEER to $8,500. Like, in your area, maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, but ain't nothing at my company less than $8,500, because I got people to pay not a living wage.
Time out. So is this a 2-ton? Is this a heat pump, electric, or gas?
Heat pump. Yeah.
Heat pump?
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't buy. I mean, 8,500 for a heat pump here. No, you wouldn't be able to. No, zero. There's no one here.
No
But
way.
it's Dallas, and the cost of doing business is a little bit different. But it's not much. Yeah.
Yeah, us too. But like the fact that a 30-year-old company has caved to that at this point, that's scary to me.
Oh, so you're saying the competition has actually driven their costs down? Are these larger these are all smaller companies that are driving this, or are you seeing like private equity owned and like larger service companies doing this as well?
Smaller.
I think it's more, I wouldn't say this company is similar to us. They're a little bit smaller than us, but I think it's in our market, there's small and there's medium and large, right? And in this medium area, which we find ourselves in, we end up competing with smaller as opposed to larger, right? Yeah. And I always ask myself, like, how do I compete with the larger? Because if I'm competing with the larger, I'm the immediate choice, right?
One thing that I learned over the years was that when you're competing against the larger companies, a lot of times those come in from brand recognition. And then what happens is this, and people don't realize this because people will say like, oh, wow, like I can't believe how much money these big companies charge. Let me tell you something. Do you know how many calls medium businesses and small businesses don't see?
Yeah.
They never even get the chance to see that call because that customer saw you on TV or saw you at the billboard or whatever it was, called, didn't even get a second opinion, didn't even get a second quote because they say, you know what? Think about it, right? This is why the Home Depots of the world and like there's these large, big brands in general that just like stick out to people. And so they gravitate towards those brands and that brand recognition, and there's trust there. It's like crazy. Yeah. But as you guys grow, I'm sure you're going to see like all of a sudden now you're constantly competing against the better, the bigger outfits, right? So,
well, and I think
it's a struggle. It's a struggle in every market now because the way that you used to go to market and the way that companies go to market now are so different, right? And I even heard somebody today tell me like I can't spend in marketing what my biggest competitors in my market can spend.
I was about to say the same thing. I know that those companies, because I have people from those companies because they came to us because they hated where they work. They're dropping 50 grand a month on PPC. I spend zero and I'm not going to spend it because
wow, you're fully organic, huh?
$0 on PPC.
Now, do you guys do like grassroots marketing too? Or are you doing
absolutely? And we are very well known in our market. We are very well known. But
your branding is fantastic. I had Dan. Did Dan do it or no?
Yeah. Dan did it.
I had Dan on didn't want to say it. I didn't know.
No.
I had Dan on a few weeks ago. He actually did a really good. It was a really fun episode. So, yeah. Well,
and we have an amazing billboard. We do a ton of stuff in the community. We're very well known for giving back in the community. We're number one on Facebook when somebody recommends a company in our area. All of those things. We're big on radio, like that's our deal. But I'm not going to drop $50,000 on Google. I'm just not going to do it. And so if that means that we're going to lose that race, then we're going to lose that race. But
do you any direct mail?
Yes, we definitely do.
Is it do people notice that you get calls from the direct mail?
At the beginning, it did really well. In fact, and from time to time it does. It just depends on the time of year. When we first started doing it, we got a huge response. Now I think, it's the middle of the summer and people are going to the internet. They're not waiting to get something in their mailbox. So, it's been interesting for sure.
Let me ask you guys a question on more along the lines of the genesis of this podcast here, which is really storytelling, right? So I'm curious because you've now owned the business now for a couple of years. What is the dumbest thing that you have ever seen one of your techs or one of your guys or anybody in your company do? Or I'll say this, one of the dumbest things, or like what is like the most like ridiculous thing that has happened in a house with a customer? What's one experience? Come on.
Well, I think we'd have to go back to us riding in the truck together when it all first started, because that's really how it got going. So I'll start the story where, in the early days, I was the dispatcher, and I was Facebook, whatever I could get. Any call we could get, we're going to.
Facebook
right?
jockey.
Facebook all the time. And it was a Saturday morning, and we were in the truck, and we had run a few calls. And I was on a Facebook group, and this lady posted, she didn't have air. And I was like, oh, well, we're in the neighborhood. We'll be right there. And so we pulled up in the driveway to this very unassuming home. And I said to David, like I normally do, because I don't want to overwhelm the customer, I'll wait in the van. You go in, you do your thing, and then I'll come in and help. And so then,
dude, I go into this house, and this lady has I don't know, I can't even count how many dogs and cats and everything else she had. Like the carpet, on the outside of the house, it looks like your average. It was in a cul-de-sac. It looked like every other house here. And then when you walk in,
those are the sneaky ones.
Oh my gosh. Like the whole, what do you call it? The smell of urine, the carpet missing everywhere. So she tells me what's going on. She's sorry. It's right after COVID. She's like,
she couldn't keep
she's
up
had
with
COVID, couldn't keep up with the house, this, that, and the other. So I raced
It's been like that since the gate, man. Everybody knows that. Yeah.
I raced to the attic, to get up there, and that was the safest place in this house. So I'm up there, and I'm looking at the thing, and lo and behold, what happened was someone installed the unit. They had to flip the coil, and what they did when they moved the secondary or the primary pan, they didn't put the plugs in the back of the pan. So for probably a year, the system has been leaking and ruining her ceiling.
Which was the least.
I think that she was embarrassed to have someone in her house, and it just got to where it was too much, so she brought us in. But anyways, as soon as I opened it, I'm not gonna say as soon as I opened it, I figured it out, but I figured it out pretty quick. But so then I'm going back out to the truck, and I tell Stephanie
I said, how was it? And this is literally what he said. Get your ass in the house. Get your ass in this house. And I was like, okay. So,
he wanted to put your fire to the flames. Or
right. You booked this. You got me in this house. You get your ass in this house. You're going to help me. And I was like, okay. So we went in, and I felt sorry for her, but it was bad. I was like, I'll stand down here at the bottom of the ladder while you go up in the attic. So anyway, I got
Did you kick anything? Did you wear? Yeah, I guess you didn't wear shoe cover. Maybe you wore.
Oh yeah,
to protect our shoes. Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes that's what you got to do. So anyway, I got my dose of being in that house. So
and did you do work for her? Did you fix up the?
I absolutely did.
Yeah.
That's it. What else you gonna do? So I gotta take.
Well, I gotta take a break here. Just to let you guys know, I have an amazing sponsor, Cooper and Hunter. They do VRF, VRV, ductless mini splits. Very appreciative of them. They have a little video that I play. It's actually it disappeared. That's all right. But yeah, I've had a good partnership with them. They got really lucky because they actually had the Florida Panthers is one of the companies that they
Cooper and Hunter's new peak unit runs efficiently up to 19 SEER 2 with BTU capacity that ranges between 18 to 55,000 for indoor and outdoor units. Compared to a traditional gas furnace, Peak's revolutionary design is ready to step in without a hassle thanks to its adaptive multi-voltage. True high-performance hyper units provide a 100% heating output at negative 13 degrees. Looking inside the unit, the new M-Coil is highly efficient and provides a better airflow that reflects in a higher static pressure. Our Smart Kit is included, giving you access to control your device from the comfort of your phone. Peak stands for powerful, efficient, auto voltage detection, and quiet. To learn more, visit our website or talk to your local distributor, Cooper and Hunter. addicted to comfort.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks for that, guys. Thanks, Cooper and Hunter. I really appreciate you guys. What is the biggest mistake that you've made so far in this husband and wifery business endeavor? You work together, you live together. You got to have a special kind of marriage to do that, where you work and live together and all this kind of stuff. I've seen it before. And actually, the other couple, I used to coach them. The other couple is like, they're, I say coach, I really just did some sales training and stuff like that for them. But anyway, I didn't coach them. I'm not like some kind of psychotherapist. Are you crazy? No, I just did some sales training and it was really cool. I went out with their guys. Great company. So what's the biggest mistake you guys have made?
I don't think it's one in particular. Like, I think, to be honest, we make lots of mistakes. Like, we do things. I think that you have to try several things, man. You got to keep trying things and implement it. And if it doesn't work, you got to pivot and try something else. So I would say it's not one specific thing that we've.
I think over time, what you realize as your business grows is that sometimes you choose or bring people on for a need that you have at that time. When we were early in our business and we needed a technician, maybe we didn't choose the best person, but it was the person that was there. But as we look back over everything, I don't regret any of the hires that we've made. It was a person that was there for a season and they served a purpose and we served a purpose for them. So you'd say that the biggest mistake that you think you've made is really kind of like just was like a necessary, but there's not like, you couldn't say like, man, we really should not have done this. I don't think if I had to say something which is kind of like an opposite, I think sometimes we're slow. I feel like I wish we already had plumbing. I wish that sometimes we're not as quick. We wanted to get really good in the lane that we're in, which we are, but sometimes we're slow to pull the trigger. So I think there's some things that we could have done already that we're working on. Yeah. But at the same time, we're so loyal to the people that we have that we don't want to make a big mistake for them. We're very dedicated to our team and what they do for us. And so, we thought about adding plumbing last year and we were like, what? We're good at HVAC and we're pretty damn good at it, but maybe we can be better. And so we're going to hold off a minute. So I think that might be something where, maybe we would be even bigger than we are right now. But I think that comes with its own headache. We know HVAC like the back of our hands, so that makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, I think definitely we've hired people that we probably shouldn't have because, we needed them at the time. And maybe we didn't fire them fast enough because we needed them at the time. But we've definitely gotten better at that over time.
What's the biggest fire you've had to put out?
We had an install manager who really blew up our install department. We needed him because David was in that role and the sales role. And we brought on a guy that talked a really great talk. And then when he got there, we figured out afterwards that he was gaslighting us the whole time. Like he was the best and he was the best guy and he was really like working for Anchor. But what we really found out is that he was toxic to the whole department. And we actually lost two installers during that time. Wow. Luckily that we didn't lose more. Yeah. And even to the point of finally did he quit? I think finally he quit because which is horrible because we should have fired him way before he had the chance to quit. But last week somebody called him because they had his number and he said, I would never work for that horrible company. And I'm like, whatever, dude, whatever lets you sleep at night, So yeah, I think, but it's hard because, we're still very involved in the company. And we're trying to make sure that, we're dancing all the time so that our people have work. And again, I really feel like this year is different in that we haven't had a really solid summer. We had an 80-degree June. We're about having the same August because it's rained for 2 weeks. And so we've had really 1 month to get what we needed to get. And that makes it difficult because there's no time to breathe. There's not really been any time where we're like, whoo, it's just rolling in. The sales are just rolling in. It's not like that. We literally have been probably 2 days out the entire year.
We're still in growth mode. Like what are we at now? 5 million?
Yeah,
roughly?
No, 7. We're at 5 million right now, but yes, for this year.
For us, it's kind of uncharted territory. Like we're still working through all those pains. We're growing. We're like trying to pull the trigger on what's necessary, holding back on what's not. So,
well, and with our experience too, like I said, we ran a larger company. We were both at a $14 million company, back in the day. We know what a larger company looks like. But what we've done at Anchor, we've done in months what people have done in years. There are not many 4-year-old companies that organically are going to do 8 million their 4th year, right? And not that there's plenty of stories out there that people are doing 30 million their 2nd year, which we haven't acquired. We acquired one small company that was in the dumpster, and so we've gone. Our first year we did 1.4. That was big.
So you say you don't do Google, you don't do Google pay-per-clicks. People know you in the community, but that's not enough, right? So what's the, okay. I know there's no silver bullet. I know there's a whole bunch of little things that you have to do, right? But if you had to choose something that you thought was, the right move from a marketing or customer acquisition standpoint, what would that be?
It's been Facebook. 100% Facebook. Wow. Facebook groups, 100% being in Facebook groups. And listen, having a reputation of doing 5-star work from the first day, from the beginning. We have provided high quality service from day one, and we've been really good at posting on Facebook, being in Facebook groups, and getting other people to tell everybody how good a job we do.
So there's other companies that like try to, obviously, that are in those groups. What separates you guys? Like, what were you able to do in these groups to garner all these calls? Versus the other companies.
I think it's being genuine. Like you can't be a PE group and do that. Like you got to be genuine. You got to be.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
You can. You can hire somebody to do all that stuff, man.
Yeah, but that's the difference.
That's the thing.
It's me. It's me and the group.
Yeah. Hey, this is Stephanie. I'm around the block.
100%.
My kids go to John Williams Elementary School over here. Yeah.
Hey, Mom, for 20 years, I owned other companies. You know me. Like, I've lived in Charleston, South Carolina my whole life.
We have our tent set up at the neighborhood Friday food truck event. We're out there. We're shaking hands, kissing babies, giving out beers or
jello shots or swag or whatever.
Yeah.
People know us.
Just the being the real genuine people. Like you and they have our numbers. Like you can call directly. You can talk.
How many nights that I've been on Facebook Messenger with a person in a neighborhood that I have no idea who they are, and they're like, "Hey, I need. We don't have air. Can you get out here tomorrow?" Absolutely, we'll figure that out. I mean, there's been, and then my whole deal was when people recommended us on Facebook. To this day, I will go in and thank on that thread every person that recommended us. Me. So thank you for recommending us. Heart, Anchor Heart. Thank you so much. You're the best friend. Like I will do that even today. And so I think people, a 50 Facebook thread becomes 100 because I responded on it and said, thank you so much for recommending it. It means so much to us. It's free. And it takes a lot of time, but it's free.
This is, I absolutely love this conversation. This is something that I think is completely irreplaceable. And it's so refreshing to hear because we are surrounded by so many vultures, so much coming in. And look, I have no problem with a business endeavor in this field, but if I was on a team, and I have worked for a very large roll up before, right? But I ran my branch the way that you're talking about, where it is more difficult. But I think if more people that were interested in getting involved or are getting involved in this field, in home services in general, I think that if they were to listen a little bit more, it's okay to be, hey, we're bottom line folks. Okay, we get it. We understand, right? But I think if they were a little more focused on this human element, that they would be wildly more successful. And the groups and the backs and the investors that do this are the ones that are going to win.
Yeah.
And that's just reality. That's just because I think we're at a point now. I'm going to make a prediction here. We're talking about customer sentiment and how everything's changing, right? The way people get business and their brand loyalty. Here's what I think is going to win out. And I've said this before because somebody asked me this. I think that you're going to have tools like AI, of course. I think the human element of what we do is going to win out. Yeah. That's what I think. I truly believe that we are the last industry that at the end of the day, that people will choose to do business with people, regardless of anything else. Okay, think about this. Ready? How long have online pricing tools been available?
I mean, I used to work for one of them. So 5 or 6 years, if not.
10 years?
Yeah, probably, for sure.
8 years, 10 years?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what percentage of sales in our business come from those pricing tools? These completely automated. What do you think? What's the percentage?
I mean, like 1%, 2%. I mean, we have maybe 1 a week, 2 a week. Like, not.
I mean, it doesn't hurt that it's on there, but like, it's not.
It's not the way.
It probably brings people to you. That's the key. Is like
it brings people to you, but the people that come to you, it gives them something to do. Right? So if you come, you heard I was really good, you're looking for a new system, and you get to my site and you're like, oh crap, I can actually get a quote, then you'll do that. Do I think that people go and look at my site and think they can get a price? No. Right? So, I mean, and I think, does it give them a little transparency? And the whole thing in our industry is, listen, people don't know what they're going to pay. Like, you don't buy HVAC often enough to know. And here, even if you bought it last year, it's not the same price as it was last year.
But somebody, and I've had a few people tell me this now, where it's like, look, if you're not putting your pricing online, somebody else is going to do it. So you got to do it. So I do think that there's but the reason why I asked this question was because to display exactly what you guys did, which was, what is the actual percentage?
Yeah.
I think that it is absolutely people. And when, okay, you guys know School of Hard Knocks, School of Hard Knocks, and you start asking these billionaires with a B, billionaires,
right. Yeah.
as to what the decide. And I love watching that guy's channel.
I do too.
And you start asking these billionaires, like, he goes, like, what's one piece of, like, what was your determining factor? I can't tell you the amount of people that said, surround yourself with people.
That's
Put
right.
the right people in place. Do the right things, people. Now, is AI gonna? What do you think? Is AI gonna? What does it look like? Are we losing 10% of tasks? Are we losing 30% of your workforce with AI in this field? What is it? What does it look like?
I don't know about our people. I mean, I think, could it make our people more efficient? Absolutely. Can it give them the answer to give a customer faster? Do I think I'm going to lose a CSR over it? I'm not going to choose to, at least until I finally have to. But at the same time, do I think that, there are ways that we can save some money by, getting them to do things that make them more efficient? Absolutely.
See, the thing is that I had 2 or 3 straight AI episodes. And I got to tell you, like, I've been using AI just like in little things. And I got to tell you, I thought about this, and Tersh actually talked about this.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was like the AI is actually giving you the ability to have more time to be human.
Yes.
And so I thought about this. And so, like, for instance, I got a buddy of mine who has a company out in New York, and they have like this, the call centers that are like, they have their own call center, but then they have like this answering sort of service. And it was fantastic. And what that one does is it actually speaks with the vernacular and the accent of where the company is located.
That's cool. Yeah.
So like they're from New York, and the guy's voice that answers the phone sounds like a New Yorker. And I couldn't. They have recordings where you can't even tell. The person actually goes, "Am I talking to an AI?" Like, and it was actually a lot of fun. Actually, and this company's like hasn't even advertised at all. They're just like a group. Anyway, but it's coming. It's coming down the pike.
Well, and I think to your point, kind of back to the beginning, is that I do still think that people like the fact that I'm the owner and I called you and here's my cell number. And what I would tell you is that when you choose a company, find out if you can get to the owner. Because if you can't get to the owner, then maybe you need to make a different choice. And we have really leaned hard on that. We have a hashtag that we use in all our marketing, and it's still local, right? So can you get to the owner of the company? And if you can't, then your money's not staying local. Maybe it's not, going to the people that you would want it to. Maybe it's not going to back into the community like what we're doing. And I think that's valuable. And we're gonna plant our flag on that and die on that hill, because that is where we just believe that our community needs companies that give back, and that's what we're going to do. That is what our people love. It's what we love, and ultimately, I think it's going to be the people that support our company. That's what they're going to love too. So that's just something that's really important to us. So
I ask this question on every episode. I'd like to get maybe even a different, like, two answers, like one from David. So what is one experience that, and I like to stick with customer experience. What's one experience that you've been through, that you've gone through? I'd like it to be in a house, that lives with you, that shapes you. Somebody you met along the way, maybe a customer story that you just bring it with you wherever you go.
I would say I'm probably going to steal yours.
Don't steal mine. I knew you were going to.
A couple of years ago, we take care of Habitat for Humanity, and a couple of years ago, we had a lady that's lived in one of the Habitat houses for, I want to say, 20-some years, and it was time for her system to be replaced. And of course,
because she hadn't had maintenance in 25 years,
she's taking care of her daughter, and she has some of her grandchildren and all that stuff. But anyway, that's one of the things we do at the end of the year. We try to give back a few systems, and we were able to grant her wish and give her new systems.
And it was like this whole God sent thing, because like her son that passed away had the same name as our technician. We rolled up and she had anchors in the window. Like, it was just this whole experience. And we all got to go there and change her system out, and we gave her some other gifts and stuff. And it's just one of the memories that really has shaped our company. And I think that's always who we've been, just a community give back kind of company. But that was such a life-changing time for us. It's been one of the things that now with a larger company, we can go back to that and say, listen, the HVAC is what we do, but it is only a vehicle to allow us to take care of people and the community the way that we want to. And that means different things. Last month we raised money for a friend of ours that passed away. He was actually the radio endorser of ours, and we gave $50 for every install we did to the local animal shelter. And this month we're collecting shoes, and all of our technicians keep getting shoes given to them by all of our customers. And that's just a few things that we've done. But we so believe in the culture of our company, and that people, not only our customers, but our employees want to be connected to a mission. And they love HVAC and they love coming to work. We're glad to say that. But I know they also love that it's something bigger than that. And so, there's so many stories within that. We had a technician, several months ago that came to us and said, hey, I'm going to organize our give back. And I'm going to be in charge of it. And I'm going to tell everybody what we're doing and where we're going and organize that. Like, that was huge for us to just say, man, maybe we were the light. Maybe we were the example, and they took it over, and now this is who we are. And if that's who we can be, like, on the hard days, like today.
That's the other thing I would say. I'm in the houses way more than you are. So yeah. The repeated 5-star reviews and customer experiences that our technicians give, like, it's daily for us. I'm not bragging, but it just is. Yeah. It's what we do. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. We're blessed. Way blessed.
So if you could go back and talk to your younger self, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Mine would have been to talk her into doing this on our own sooner and not the story in the beginning where we went with an investor. We would have been doing this for ourselves all along.
And I always say we needed that experience to create who we are. We could have done it then, but we weren't ready. And that's why we had to go through the crap that we went through to get where we are. And I do believe many nights that David said we could be doing this for ourselves, but we weren't planning to do it for ourselves. And then we did. And I think it has made us appreciate what we have so much more. But I would agree. I knew you were going to say that we could have done this earlier. But my dad has always said, if you changed one thing about where you are or one thing about what you did, you wouldn't be where you are right now. And so I just have to believe that we were supposed to go through all of that stuff because we get to be here. We get to have these people. We get to take care of these people. We get to have the relationship that we do. And it's not always roses. I don't want anybody to think that, like, come to We Mean Business because you're going to get the real deal. But
it's not marital counseling.
It's not. No, we're not doing marital counseling there. But, we have a great relationship, but we also respect each other's lane and what the other does. And while we may disagree on things, we agree on a lot too. And I think there's so much to be gained in this industry. There's so much to get and to give. We just want to make sure that we're the people that get to share that with everybody.
Last question. And then I want you guys to talk about your event one more time so that everybody can figure out where to go and where to get tickets and whatever else. I brought this up in another previous episode, and I was really interested in hearing what your thoughts are on, like, what the biggest mistake right now that people are making in the industry. And maybe it's something that you guys have gone through, and maybe you went through it.
I would say right off the conversation we were having before, we didn't go through it. We never underpriced ourselves. And I think that is the biggest thing that our industry is doing, is allowing the consumer to dictate our worth. And so to me, there should be an industry standard. And it may not be an industry standard. It's going to be a standard in your area, right? So just like we said before, if the going rate for a 2-ton 14 SEER is $10,000 in Charleston, South Carolina, then that's what it should be. And why are we eating our own in the meantime, right? Why is the Chuck in a truck selling it for $7,500? He should be selling it for $10 and making bank and taking his kids on vacation and putting braces on their teeth and all those things, because that is what the industry is worth. And so I think that's one thing for me, is that, get the coaching that you need, get the confidence that you need. Why are you financing somebody's problem and you've never lived in their house and enjoyed their air conditioner? I do not understand it. And it will absolutely be something that I will continue to coach on. I don't think you should be overpriced. I'm absolutely not for that. I think there are benchmarks. I think there are companies out there that are way overpriced, and that's not what I'm talking about. But I think even for the little guy, the first year we were in business, we priced ourselves appropriately. We ended up at 38% net. There's nothing wrong with that. We weren't overpriced. And you know what it gave us the second year? Freedom. It gave us the ability to grow a company, to walk into a bank and say, I need 4 trucks and I need the loan for it. I could write the check, but I'm going to take the loan for it because it makes more sense. It keeps me to have more cash flow. And instead of being in a position where I'm like, should I hire a CSR or a helper? And I'm not going to pay them well. And then I'm going to complain that I can't find good people. You know what? From the beginning, we found good people that were experienced and we paid them well. And we still do that. So why do you do that? I don't understand it. Anyway, that's going to be my, like, it's just my
good. Thing. That's great. No, that's such a great sort of, like segue to out of this conversation, because it's a theme. And I think you're right. I think, your skill level, no one goes into the doctor's office and goes, excuse me, how much was that scalpel that you're holding right there? and would you do me a favor? I see the surgical gauze there. Can you please, let me know how much? You just don't see that because you have professionals. And for some reason in our field, even with the amount of experience, listen, I've been doing this. I'm in my 17th year in this industry. I still am learning things.
Absolutely.
I'm still learning things.
Right.
So it's, we're constantly learning, but I think there's an education piece here that I think is missing. And I think that the problem really becomes when you get people who don't, like, everything's so fast, like we do things so fast. So then, like, if you try to just, like, in a way wrangle in that thought process and be like, hey guys, listen, this is really important. And I know what you're thinking. Like, you want to, like, blaze through this Amazon style, but the reality is this thing's going to sit in here for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
So let's just have a conversation. You can tell me no at the end of it. That's fine.
Right.
But let's have the conversation. And then, once we're done here, you can tell me to get out of your house. You can tell me whatever you want. Right. But I at least want you to know what you're getting into here. And these are the things that we should be looking out for and watching for. Right. I mean, we have to take care. So I think, but you have to bring people in and they have to be vested. And unfortunately, like, attention spans, like, it's such an uphill battle. So it's like, how do you communicate more? Right.
Yeah.
When people want to listen less.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I think that, and also I believe that we're making the barrier for entry into our industry really low. And so I would say that in our own area, how come there are 150 new companies this summer in Charleston, South Carolina? Why?
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Well, you've got a lot of imports. People are relocating to Charleston and South Carolina.
They shouldn't be able to get a wrap truck and call themselves an HVAC company, right?
Well, they changed the rules so to listen to this. This is pretty crazy. And I'm sure that other states are going to follow. So I live outside of Dallas. They changed the ruling where you actually have to, if you purchase an HVAC company, an owner of the business has to have the license. You cannot rent a license anymore. You can't just be a private equity company, let's say, or like a private investor. Now, that's not the rule that's not the rule in the state. It's the rule. Let me repeat that. It's SBA laws.
Yes.
So if you have a loan on the business, if you have an SBA loan, the SBA law has changed where you now, so that is federal, so that where you need to have what in my hometown state is a bona fide rep.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody on the business license, has to have the license in the business itself if it's a specialty trade, which what this does is it evens the playing field, because it's not just money at that point in time. You have to have somebody with a stake in the business on the letterhead of the company. Yeah. And anybody who's listening can fact check it or whatever, but I may not have put it right, but that's the crux of it.
Well, and I think we just need in our industry to figure out how we can educate people to move from a technician mentality to an owner mentality, right? And then we would fix a lot of things. You know, a lot of guys get out of the truck because they don't want to work for somebody else anymore, but they're not really completely qualified to be a business owner. But a customer has no idea. If you roll up and you represent yourself as an HVAC company, they have no idea that you never installed a unit. They have no idea of that. You might have been a technician your whole life and you've never been an install, but they wouldn't know, right? And so, like, how do we make sure that we're protecting customers the same way? That's a huge thing too, that I think, you know, and I think when you're in that technician mindset, you spend your money, not theirs. And so what would you do? How would you do things? You want the cheapest. And so then you're not necessarily taking care of customers. And when you get to our point where we're taking care of other people as well as customers, then we are much more called to do it the right way. And I don't understand how then people in our industry turn on us in the area and go, oh, you charge too much. Well, like, because we're doing it right, because we're paying 401k, because we give time off, because we give great benefits, all of those things that you don't get or provide, but that are really important for the.
But you have to make them care about that. Like,
right.
They have to want to use the company that treats their employees well.
Yes.
So they've got to buy into that. If their only concern is like, hey, I won't spend 10% more on something because this company treats. And people do. People will buy American-made products because they're like, I want to buy American-made product.
Right.
People will buy things that are a little bit more money. Now, I will say that it really now it comes down to, like, how big is the purchase?
Yeah.
Am I doing something that's, it's going to cost me $700 instead of, $600? Oh, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Is it something that's going to cost me $15,000 instead of $11,000? Now it's like, oh, well, wait a minute.
Right.
Here.
Yeah.
So now
there's so many things to debate. I think in our industry where, maybe we're moving towards a place like the car industry has where, you have to finance. I don't love that. I don't think that that's where we should.
What percentage of your business today is currently financed?
Little, probably 15%. And we're
that to me is so foreign because, and I don't know if it's the market or not, but I've lived in two major metropolitan areas.
Yep.
I lived in the New Jersey metropolitan area, which is a commuter, like literally right outside New York City,
Yep.
right? Where it's like, quite literally most people are living either like, here's my black card, pay it all off.
Yep.
Or I have to finance, what's your lowest monthly payment? Like, there's really no middle ground.
Yep.
It's either give me the lowest monthly payment, I don't care how long it's for,
Yep.
or I'll pay the whole thing off in full.
And people
So 70% of our jobs were financed.
Yeah.
And then I moved. Well, hold on. So I moved to Dallas, and I had a lot of experience here. And I would say it's a little less, but it's almost the same. I would say probably 70% finance. And this is like a big pool of customers, like 70% finance, and only 30% actually can write a check.
Which is that's the whole questions that you always have to ask, though, because Charleston has always been so different. We didn't go through the 2008 recession the way that everybody else did. We are the number one place for people to move from the north, from off. They're moving here like crazy. And when we present financing, don't you get me wrong, they think that that's the F word. How dare you? I do not need financing. I'm not broke. I'm like, I finance some things. So, like, I don't think you're broke, but it's a different mindset here.
Are you only marketing in areas that have over a certain income level? That's crazy to me.
There's a lot of vacation property here. There's a lot of, there's certain areas here that this is their second home. We have a lot of celebrities that live here. It is a little bit of that. You don't know.
Well, that's what you got to do. You got to throw a gala or go to one of these galas, these celebrities, and just be like the authorized, you know what I mean? Like real moms of of Charleston, South Carolina.
Don't you worry, Everett. We are at all the galas. So that's deal.
See, I want to go to a Charleston gala.
Okay.
I want to get all decked out like Southern style. Like, we got them here in Dallas, of course. Everybody comes in with the big hat. It's always big hat. It doesn't matter. You're man, woman, big hats. You know what I'm saying? Well, good. So y'all, and so y'all are Clemson. Y'all are Clemson Tigers. I have one of my best friends, actually, a huge Clemson guy. I will say I'm wearing a Longhorns hat. I know I'm not from here, but I've been a I'm like a diehard Longhorn fan, so I'm excited. I know it's not excited for you guys, but I'll be at the first home game, which will be a lot of fun. You guys go to any games?
We'll be there this weekend.
Yeah, we're season ticket holders for Clemson.
Who are they playing this weekend?
LSU. What are you talking about?
Oh, it's going to be Tigers versus.
Yes, it is.
Tigers on Tigers.
It's orange out.
Tigers versus Tigers.
The orange. So we're in the Death Valley this weekend, and we'll be wearing our orange. So that's our deal. So
all right. Good. I'm so glad to have this conversation. You guys are a wonderful couple. I wish you guys the most amount of luck ever. And blessings and everything else. And hook 'em horns. And then she means business. He means business. Tell everybody how they can find you for that event and how they can register and everything else.
Yeah. So it is We Mean Business, and it is WeMeanBusinessCHS.com is the website. The cost is $17.99 per couple. You can actually use WMB 150 to get $150 off. We're actually doing a giveaway for $500 off your registration right now. Again, November 9th through the 11th, it's going to be at Wild Dunes Resort, which is an amazing resort. We stayed there last March for the Make-A-Wish Gala, which was really fun. And so we're looking forward to it. We actually are working very hard. We may have a very special two keynote speakers. We're really hoping that we're going to be able to bring Jesse and Emily Cole of the Savannah Bananas to be our keynote speakers. But if we can't work that out, we have amazing couples in the industry who are doing awesome things. Some that are still running their businesses, some that have exited and are doing other things. So we're really going to be able to show what's going on in the industry, what the possibilities are. We're hoping that you might find a mentor or become a mentor, and just enjoy and relax being in a beautiful place for a couple of days. So we hope.
Very cool. I will wait for my invitation. And that's very cool. So, okay. So, We Mean Business,
yep.
CHS.com. You can reach out to Stephanie and David, and they can help you out. We get on board with that. And with that, guys, I've really loved this conversation. Thank you so much. I'm going to put you off here for 1 second, and I'm just going to make one more announcement here. Thank you guys so much. Last little announcement right here is on another note, and this is because conference season is sort of right around the bend right here. As I said before, the HVAC Trailblazer event for TACA is coming up, Texas Air Conditioning Contractors Association, North Texas. We do have people coming in from other areas. We're probably expecting about I think about 1,000 people, which is going to be pretty cool. There's booths available. And in a couple of weeks, actually, I'm going to be podcasting directly from like one of our board meetings. I think we're doing it at like a Johnstone or a Ferguson or something like that. I got to take a look at it. But I did have a guest that I met. I went to a roofing conference, and I just stopped in, and so apparently there's this guy, and he's like, I don't know, like this is like a 9-figure guy, like apparently like in this business. So he's like, I guess he's like the big, big mogul, Goodrich kind of guy in the roofing field. His name is Ray Little, and I have on the 9th, I'm going to have an interview with him. Next week, I'm actually going to have this guy. He's hilarious. His name is HVAC Mac. He's like the HVAC Mac, like Return to the Mac. I don't know. He's like hilarious. And he does like training for Lennox and stuff like that. Super HVAC guy. He's here in the Metroplex. So we're going to do it live. And then on the 30th, I have Valerie Heck. You might know her, Valerie Garcia on, and she was 40 under 40. She's going to get her own episode because she was the only one on that panel that did not get her own episode. That's it, guys. Really appreciate it. And, we'll see you next week.